The difference between a meltdown and a tantrum is significant. A meltdown is an involuntary reaction to overwhelming stressors, be they cognitive or be they sensory. Sensory would be going into a store, no offense to Walmart's, like Walmart's at Christmas time, and all the sensory hitting you and being forced. And I have seen parents try to desensitize their kids by dragging them into Walmart's and having to put up with all the sensory. And what it is, it's not, your brain says too much. Because we have the heightened 5 senses, your senses are always constantly reacting. The smell, the sight, the hearing, everything, that finally it says enough and it just has to run. It's involuntary. Cognitive sometimes is from cognitive overload, not getting understandable questions answered, We'll see, maybe, if you're good. And we try our best and we get nowhere, and then boom, that happens. A tantrum is a tantrum. A tantrum is a willful manipulation of behavior to get an end desired result. It requires cognitive functioning. In a meltdown, always, you'll have some degree of cognitive dysfunctioning. That's one of the keys of distinguishing between the two. I describe, what to look for, the differences between a cognitive, meltdown and say, a tantrum. And one of the things is that cognitive dysfunction, we get so stressed out that we can't even think straight, and it decreases. And a tantrum, any child, whether you're autistic or not, will have a tantrum when they want something their way. And you handle that completely different. You handle a tantrum ideally, with a consequence, be it what it may for that child, and be it something that they understand. Taking away a privilege or whatever, letting them know that behavior is unacceptable. I actually did a consultation for a young boy I was called in, and they didn't know it was a meltdown or tantrum. And and he was nonverbal, and I spent maybe 20 minutes with that child. And it was really, really quick to see that child was having a tantrum, because I watched. And what he would do is he'd throw himself on the ground, and it was really hard. But I was looking for cognitive functioning. I was looking for some sort of, reaction in his brain trying to manipulate behavior. And he was having his meltdown in front of the people, and watching them watching him. So I said, step aside, and I stepped in. I said, just watch. And I turned my back, and I just crossed my arms, and I just completely ignored him. And he screamed and ranted and raved. And after 5 minutes, when he realized that I couldn't see him, he slowly moved his meltdown, was right into my line of sight. And I turned again, and he moved it again. So I knew immediately it was not a meltdown, it was a tantrum, because he was cognitively functioning, and he was trying to manipulate my behavior, and he was upset that he wasn't getting a reaction. So we would handle that with consequences.
Learn more about autism online. Visit www.mpbn.net/autism.